Welcome to Connection. This is Bilitis, your host, and I'm pleased to be here today with you, and especially very excited to share with you what's coming up next. But before that, for those who are new to Connection, well, what to expect? You should expect to meet individuals who are in a mission, who feel like there is an urgency in what they're doing, and they want to share with you their message. It's really a life of growth. Today, as you may see, for those who are used to Connection, the format is a little bit particular, different, because I was so moved by one of my new becoming friends speech, Mr. Byron Nelson, that I really wanted to share his words. And when I had the chance to listen to him speaking, it was a 2 hours conversation, group conversation. When Mr. Byron Nelson starts, there is no off button. And that's why I decided actually to deliver his message drop by drop, because each of his words are calibrated. They are carefully chosen with a meaning, and each single thing Mr. Byron is saying is linked to the next one. Before Mr. Byron Nelson shares his message with us, let me introduce him to you. So Byron Nelson is the founder of the Mattress Group. He's a world-renowned wealth coach, business advisor, and highly sought-after inspirational speaker. Over the last 2 decades, this self-made multimillionaire and servant leader has dedicated his life to helping others create wealth. He has educated and mentored thousands of people around the world, helped create over 100 millionaires on his team alone, put 200 students through college out of his own pocket, and it looks like he's just getting started. Byron has as well built a massive global organization where his business has extended into countries such as Canada, Australia, USA, New Zealand, many countries across Europe, and South Korea. And this is still growing. Currently, he's building a new wave of leadership for those who truly are ready to change their financial future by teaching the importance of financial literacy, human equity, and relationship currencies. His message of finishing what you start is his legacy and contribution to the world. Well, and this is just the introduction, my dear audience. So make the most of what's coming next. I invite you to pause the video if necessary to catch your notebook and your pen. And be comfortable, sit down, relax, take notes, make the most out of it. And now, yes, let's welcome Mr. Byron Nelson.
Man, it is an honor to be on this call with each and every one of you. Good morning at this ungodly hour of 4 o'clock. It's usually when I go to sleep. I miss it traditionally because it is at 4 a.m. and I don't know if I'm waking up or going to sleep at this hour. It's just one of those very weird hours. I saw Ben's video the other day. It's great to wake up at 5. You can make it a habit. Then I'm going to come and shoot you in your foot. It is not 5 o'clock. You and Robin in this 5 a.m. Even going to the 5 a.m. club, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sleep at 5 a.m. But man, Ida, you spoke so highly. I'm very humble for you to be able to share what you shared. If anybody can make a black man blush, you just did. So thank you.
I don't believe anyone can make you blush. It's not possible. You make me blush, but no.
You are so awesome. I mean, it's just really, and I'm so humbled and so honored to be on this call, you guys. I just, I was very quiet at this. Well, I was quiet amongst the masses. I did have some intentional collisions with some amazing, extraordinary people. Many of you here on the call, Abney, Ben, many of you. I could go down the whole list. And so it's just, I really at that point was at a turning point in my life. I was not in the space of creating a new chapter. I was in the space of creating a new book. And so what speaking of is actually my book that is coming out at the end of this year, which I've been underground, and I'd actually started it last year, and it's called Finish What You Start, and that's really the essence of where I think it's the epic center of where everybody's life either starts or it ends, is learning how to finish what you start. Think about it. How many people do you know actually start a diet? I don't even like the word diet because it has die in it, but I'm going to utilize it because it's a universal word. But how many people start a diet and then they don't complete? Or if they do, they end up weighing more than they actually did when they start. Or how many people start, a book? That's even, especially for the extraordinary people on this call, how many times have we actually purchased a book and bought it because of the title and have 10 other books just like it because of the title that says the same thing, and we don't finish it? We skim through it, we look through it, and it's like we have these, an amazing library, but they're all saying the same thing and we never finish the book, or have been in a relationship. I was coaching a young lady, and she was telling her, well, one of the most amazing women that I know. And she was telling me how she was calling back one of her, I guess she had either had an abortion or she had had a miscarriage. I think it was a miscarriage, but she was very young. And in that conversation, it was an incomplete conversation. And she said, I need to give him a call before I enter into another relationship, because every one of my relationships have been impacted with me not having a closure call with this one person. I said, oh, amazing. Of course. That's a conversation you need to complete. I said, when did you guys break up? I said, you've been on quite a journey. Tell me about your past relationships. It had been over a good at least 7 to 8 years. I was like, my God, the man, you've gone through at least 3 relationships, 1 marriage and a divorce and a relationship all the way back to at least 7, 8, 9 years ago. And you now want to have a closure conversation. I said, I think he's complete. He's married with 3 kids, he's pretty complete. But I understood, I comprehended at another frequency why I was incomplete. And it really was my sit down with Mr. Brown, for those of you who know who Les Brown is. And he shared with me, and he dug into my brain, he dug into my spirit more so about where I was, where I've been, and where I'm going. And that's something in which, even when I'm teaching conversations, and for those of you who don't know, I'm a high impact coach that's known as the architect. And so that's why when I go to public forums like the one at the summit where we were with the Titans and many other places, it's very difficult for me to speak on exactly what I do. It's kind of like if you're a scientist that is working on Ebola, it's like if you aren't a scientist, the conversation's almost foreign. Does that make sense? You guys follow me? That's like, why talk to something? I have a philosophy. You might want to write this one down. It's a law. I live by laws and philosophies. And the law is you only talk to people about your problems who can help you fix them. And you only talk to people about your dreams to people who can help you build them. I'll say that again. You only talk to people about your problems to individuals that you know can help you fix them. And you only talk to people about your dreams to people that you know are going to help you build them. And the reason for that is so many people do it for validation, acknowledgement, love, attention, and they always have something to talk about, right? And opinions are something that are fleeting and very expensive. I have, like I said in this new book, I've evolved into only having very powerful conversations. I mean, powerful conversations. I don't believe in having any random conversations. Being an architect, I'm very specific about the way I build, and being known as an architect, high net worth individuals come to me when they want to get where they want to be in 5 years, in 2 years. So they have ideas of where they want to be in 5 or 6 years. They have these vast plans, these great grand dreams. And it's really about collapsing timeframes. That's the key. It's not the how, that's what it is. And as an architect, you have to go into a person's life, into their brain. They have to invite you first and foremost. It's almost like a vampire. You can only come in if you're invited. So I don't really have those kind of conversations randomly or just in casual conversation or social settings, because somebody has to truly be seeking it. I am, in an interview I did about a month ago, they said to two of my mentees, how would you explain him? He said, he's a lighthouse. People only find him when they already know where they want to be and want to get there faster. So I don't go saving all the lost ships. That's how me and Ida have teamed up and partnered up. It's like they truly have to have a burning desire for where they know they want to be. Not they think. You can listen. You can write down the word language. It's huge. Language is everything. If you have a listening for a person's conversation, think about the last time you talked to someone, they said, you know what, I think. See, people that are on a mission for grand life, for a granular life, as our partner was saying, when Robin talks about a granular life, a majestic life, a mammoth life, they don't think. I don't think with Belitis, I'm going to have an amazing relationship. I know I'm going to have an amazing relationship. You see what I'm saying? With Arthur, I don't think that he can do extraordinary things with me if we partner. I know. There's only 2 spaces that people that are destined for greatness live. That's knowledge, meaning I know, or if one is not certain, I believe. I was on a call with Simon Sinek about 6 months ago, and it's like, if you listen to any of his work, I believe. This is what I believe. When you talk to a person about their belief and their dreams and their goals and their spirituality, it's about my belief system, and this is where I am. This is what I'm doing. It's I am. This is what I am. This is what I am. This is what I am. It's not what I'm trying. It's not what I hope. It's not what I hope for. It's not what I'm praying for. It's not what I think. And you hear that, and there's, immediate words that come to mind. You become a surgeon to the way a person disseminates and shares their vision. Vision, the word itself stands for vision, the acronym. I'm big on acronyms. Vision stands for vision inspires success in others now. Vision inspires success in others now. If you look at anybody that has accomplished extraordinary things, we know from a spiritual perspective that those without vision shall perish. But the picture is so pristine, it's so big, it's a mural. They paint a picture for the homeless. They paint a picture for the rich. They paint a picture for everyone that's in between. They have a picture, which you have to get great at being an artist when you're doing something amazing. I don't care if you're a scientist, if you're actually in real estate, you have to get great at being able to paint a picture that the popper, the one, everyone can see themselves in that picture. That's one of the problems I've been called upon as a leader in so many realms over this last week. My God, in regards to being, part of what's happening in the United States, I call it prey to the Black man, right? And I've turned down 98% of the phone calls based on, I really don't have the space or capacity for that. The downloads are so negative. You can't even get away from it. It's just, it tears my heart apart. You know, one of the things I've expressed, you know, it's not new to us. We've been living it our whole life. But that's not the topic this morning. I'm just sharing with you, be careful about your circle. Be careful about the calls that you take in. Be careful about what you let into your space. See, your mind is a system. Please, if you're taking notes, system stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. It's one of the ways in which I utilize to be able to truly leverage time in a person's life to collapse the time frames. You have to have not an emergency, but an urgency for the things that are important in your priority list. And if you keep that in the forefront of your mind, whatever you're working on, it's urgent. See, when I say letting things in your space, the book that I'm writing is a trilogy. I am specifically writing it to get a Pulitzer. I'm not writing it for acclamation. I'm not writing it for acknowledgement. I am writing it with an intention to get a Pulitzer. And there's a reason I'm writing 3, because you don't always get what you want when you hit it out the park the first time. I want it so mammoth that it transmits a frequency that alters the state of the entire human race well beyond the time that I exist. Which is why the first book is called, you know, Finish What You Start. The statement that Les Brown, I've had several things. I'm going to take you through a journey while I'm talking about this and talking about what Ido and I talked about in the first chapter. One of the first statements that really stood out to me of what Mr. Brown being the highest paid speaker ever on a stage. Now, we aren't talking about books. We aren't talking about merchandising. We aren't talking about, you know, any of that. We're talking about just the highest paid person and upwards of $500,000 to speak for 1 hour on a stage. It's mammoth. That's huge in anybody's book. The highest paid human that on this planet to date that's gotten paid to speak for 1 hour, specifically just to speak for an hour. When somebody gets paid that kind of currency, you listen. And I was very much intently listening. And he said, Byron, you can never see yourself inside of the frame. That hit me like a kidney punch. Because he was asking me, well, you know, what do you believe? What do you think? This, that, and the other. And I'm just like, we're going down this line. And obviously you're humble as Ida and I are with each other. And we're kind of like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm gonna step into my greatness and I'm gonna speak. And then at the peak of the conversation, he says, you are amazing, but you're nowhere close to where God has destined for you because you can't see yourself in the frame. And that screamed at me mentorship and coaching at the highest level of being very choosy about who you surround yourself with and how they think. Really calibrating how they think, how their mind is. And it took me into my first chapter, which is called A Collision for Success. And it took me down a journey where one of my books that is tabled because of Finish What You Start is called The Teachings My Father Taught Me to Be a Man. But then my father was the greatest mentor I've had in my life. He passed in 2013, but he's obviously still here with me because he keeps talking through me. Conversation for another day. My first collision for success was with a gentleman that those that understand self-development and self-growth, his name is Jim Rohn. Does anybody know that name? So Jim Rohn, amazing individual, amazing, was my first collision for success. He lived in Arizona, and I would fly in to see him every summer from 2005 up until the year he passed in 2009. And I would sit at his foot, and I would sit with him, and I would listen, and I would take notes. And he was just and he shared with me, and he asked me, he said, Byron, which is what got me to the summit. You know, he said, how much more valuable are you this year than you were last year? I was like, well, what are you talking about? He said, well, let's look at it. Milk, eggs, bread, they've gone up over 500% in the last 3 to 4 years. Has your income gone up? I was like, huh? Hold it, what? He said, just the basic needs of eating have gone up over the last 3-4 years, like 500%. He said, how's your income doing? He said, so you aren't even staying up with the status quo of what it takes to coexist on this planet at the price of living, but you're so intelligent. He said, have you learned a new language this year? He said, what have you done to make yourself, and you can write this question down, what have you done to make yourself more valuable this year than you were last year? It's a very powerful conversation. And I started learning how to truly not motivate, but inspire. Hence the architect kicked in. Think about the conversations, and one of the exercises I have a person do is go and look at your phone over the last 20 phone calls or 20 text messages that came in. And how many of them, when that name came across your phone, you were inspired. I mean, oh yes, Ida called. That's how I feel when Ida calls. When I get a text from Ben, oh, Ben called, whoever it is. The people that I let in my space, people are food. Who inspires? I'm not just talking about the people at the top of the mountain. I'm talking about those calls that make you more valuable, that your eyes light up and you feel like it's a priority that I must. One, how many of those calls that have come into your phone do you have in a list of 10 to 20 in the last 24 hours that made the comma move in your check? And second, are you that person when the phone rings? And when people text in your world, not just highly respected. I'm not talking about all the yes people and all the people that are on your jock because you're extraordinary at whatever you do. We have some amazing people on this call. So I understand we've documented ourselves as doctors and attorneys in whatever realm you work in. But I'm talking about the people that are equally yoked or higher. Do they get excited and ignited when they see your name? Do you work your life in that capacity? When you lead a conversation, if I call Paul and I sat up there, well, how does your conversation flow? I'll give you one of mine because I've been teaching impact conversations so you truly can understand how to reverse engineer the universe so that business comes to you instead of you looking for it, so that the right people come to you instead of you spending your life trying to find, where are the great, where you're looking for the right woman, or you're looking for the right man, or you're looking for the right society, or you're looking for the right company. Where are the people that stimulate my brain that every day you have 5, 6, 7 euphoric conversations like, my God, where have you been all my life? The point of that is you have to be what you're looking for. You can't say you're looking for love and you aren't the epitome of love. You can't say I want peace and you aren't the epitome of peace. You can't say I want wealth and you are not the essence of what wealth is. Understand the power of words. I know a lot of rich people. So do you. Guess what? I don't like any of them. Because the distinction between rich and wealth, rich is what you have. Wealth is what you're able to give away. Wealthy means that you have lived a life so extraordinary that you have so much abundance that it is your responsibility to go and bless the rest of the world with what you did by living on purpose, intention, and passion. That's powerful if you get that. I mean, on purpose, on intention, and with so much passion. That when a person just has a conversation, they're just almost like, whatever you're doing, you don't have to be a great orator. It's how, see, it's not what you do, it's who you're becoming. It's who you are becoming, it's who you're being and becoming. Because if you're truly living on purpose and intention, I've talked to people that made furniture. I've never even thought about making furniture in my life. But this one guy that I trained, I was in awe. How did you make millions of dollars just building furniture? He said, let me show you this piece of furniture. And the way he went through every piece of this. I was just, I was so I was so enrolled. I wanted to start building furniture. I was like, oh my God. You're so passionate about it. I was like, my God, it's like you would have thought he did the Sistine Chapel. You're like, oh my God, this is freaking awesome. I don't even want to sit on it. I just want to look at it because of the workmanship that he put into that couch. Do people look at you with that vigor about who you're being, which in turn translates into what you're doing? That creates a...
Hi, so how did you like it? Well, if you want to know more, if you want to know what's next coming on the speech of Byron, well, very simple. I invite you to subscribe to the Connection YouTube channel and turn on the notification button. Like this, each time there is a new episode of Byron and any other connection, you're the first one to know about it. Today was already a very rich session, like understanding the importance of having a system, like asking yourself, how valuable are you this year compared to last year? Like as well, the difference between being rich and being wealthy. I'm super excited to share with you what's coming next, including...
What happens is when the mind expands, it will never go back to the original state. Do you set yourself up to expand?
Yes, that's super exciting. And as well, I want to thank you. Like, I want to really thank you for taking the time to make you grow. Because it's by better understanding who you are, where you want to be, that you will get where you want to be and improve your life and impact the life of others too. Talking about life, some of you may know already that Connection supports the Gifted Dream Foundation. The Gifted Dream Foundation was first founded to bring education over India and Kenya. However, with the current situation, the focus has changed. That's why the Gifted Dream Foundation has launched the Food Movement Parcel. Did you know that for $2 a day, you could feed a family of 5? So, Gifted Dream Foundation needs you, and above all, these families and children need you. Thank you for any support you can contribute to. You'll find the link to make a donation on the description box below. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you next Friday.